Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. We are here to talk about NXT. It is August 8th. It's Tuesday. You guys know the drill. We're kicking the wrestling week off with a brand new slate of shows. Tomorrow, I will also be back here to talk about AEW Dynamite. Then on Friday, I will be here to chat some WWE Smackdown. And then Saturday, I'll finally be back for Collision. I know things were a little bit different this week because we had SummerSlam. And I do want to go ahead and take a second to thank each and every single one of you that tuned in to that SummerSlam watch along because I was live for over 4 hours. It was kind of nuts. But you guys came through, you guys came in, we hung out. It was a really, really good time. I also want to thank you guys because last week, I think it was around like maybe Friday or Saturday, I forget what day, but you guys got me into the top 40 on the Apple podcast charts for pro wrestling podcast in the United States last week in the top 40. Now, I got to climb back up once again because you guys know it fluctuates up and down. And since I didn't do a Collision podcast, went down a little bit, but my goal is to get back up there. But regardless, it happened, broke into the top 40, and I'm trying to keep going and keep climbing back up. And this week should be a lot of fun because I'm putting out so much content, and I think I don't know if I should tease it already, but as of right now, I'm scheduled to do a really freaking awesome interview later this week. And if all goes well, you will all hear about it because it'll be a good time. But anyways, I want to go ahead and kick things off and get everything going, and let's talk about NXT. So this was an interesting episode because the big thing in this episode was primarily the promotion of Rey Mysterio being on the show. We've been seeing a lot more main roster talent come on to NXT. The NXT ratings have been pretty damn good, guys. Like, they've been pretty solid every week. The people are liking what they're seeing. And so we're getting a lot of good stuff. Now, there was quite a bit of good stuff on today's show. I felt like they kind of gave us a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to spend more time on some things than others, though, because some things are like whatevers, and then some things there's just way more to say about. So I'm going to go in a chronological format, and I'm going to kick things off with Axiom versus Mustafa Ali. So this was a lot of fun. This was the opener of the night, and this one was cool, too, because we really saw Mustafa Ali really just like from the very beginning, like pushing. There was a point where this was all action packed, by the way, which is what you would expect from an Axiom Mustafa Ali match. Whatever it is that you expected from them, that's pretty much what we got. But my favorite part during all of this was kind of leading towards pretty much the finish when we saw Mustafa Ali literally just push freaking Axiom off of the top of the turnbuckle, literally just push him like the man had no regard for this man's life, pushes him into the mat, and then finally gets him back into the ring, and he hits a 450, gets the victory here. But here's the thing, guys. Now, I know they're not going to do this because, I don't know, I guess they're just not going to do this. But you know what would be really freaking awesome if they did? And I'm just going to say it right now. But you know what I would really like to see? I would like to see this Axiom Mustafa Ali situation continue. Like, I would love to see this feud continue. Now, granted, keep in mind that after this match, Mustafa Ali basically said that he's headed for the NXT North American Championship. He wants to be NXT North American Champion, right? But I would like to see this story with Axiom and Mustafa Ali continue. And hear me out, guys. Hear me out. And I want to see what the chat says. Hear me out. What if we were to get a mask versus hair match on NXT? Literally, guys, Mustafa Ali's hair on the line and Axiom's mask. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, you know what? NXT, they like to try some new things, some things that we don't see often in the WWE. And so as I was like watching these two guys, you got Axiom with his mask, right? Of course, when you do a mask versus hair match, the mask has a lot more meaning behind it. But I'm like, for NXT, it wouldn't hurt if they did a mask versus hair match, and all of a sudden we had Ali's hair on the line and Axiom's mask. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just in my head right now because I just did the Triple Mania interviews with Sam Adonis, and he is in a hair versus mask match that's going to be happening at Triple Mania. So that's probably why my brain went there immediately. But honestly, let's see what people are saying. I'm curious to see if that would be something people are interested in. MD says bald Ali. That's the thing. I think Ali, I wouldn't want to see him lose his hair because the man is a very good looking man with all of the hair. Daniel says he would like that. Mohammed says no. Let's see what we got. Hassim would say yes. Shadow says, oh my. Ricky says no. Denise, no. Zay Cruz says, I don't want Axiom to go back to A-Kid though. Mohammed says losing Ali's hair is a crime and Axiom's mask is cool. And MD says recency bias. We got some people that would be down for it. John Deller says sounds fun. And yes, Ali is a very handsome man, guys. I've interviewed him a few times, and one of the interviews that I first did with Mustafa Ali, it's actually one of my most popular videos on YouTube. It has over 400,000 views or something. And I went on the comments, and it's just a bunch of people that are in love with Mustafa Ali. Like, all the comments were thirsty. Everybody wanted a piece of Ali. You name it, they wanted them. Let's see what else we got here. Steven says, no, that's rough. Ali with no hair. We got more people saying no. A couple soundies saying yes. Man, y'all need to have some more fun here. We need to see this at some point in WWE. Like, I would love to see something like that. Mike Parker says only if Ali loses. I get what you guys are saying because, some people don't want to see Axiom without his mask, and then some people don't want to see Ali bald, but what can you do? All right, we got our first super chat of the day. This is actually from my good friend, Steven. Steven says, you deserve this and so much, Denise. Thanks for always bringing it and just for being awesome. Thank you so much. I have goals, trying to get to them. It's very hard. As you guys know, this whole entire field is very competitive, but, we're trying. Well, I keep saying we're, like if I'm multiple people, I don't know why, but I feel uncomfortable saying I can't say I have to say we. It's so weird. Even I don't know. So if I say we, just whatever, ignore that. I know that I'm a one person, but I do have a nice team though. And I just brought on Reg on Wednesday. So technically, I guess it is definitely a we. And I got people that help me too every now and then for pay-per-views and stuff. So yeah, because it feels weird to say I. It would be weird. All right, so let's go ahead and press things on and see. Okay, I kind of got a couple of the people torn here on the chat. There's some people that are like, nah, Denise, no. But there are some people that are kind of don't mind. Heidi Ho sends in a super chat saying, as a long-haired white guy, hair is more sacred than a mask. Look, Heidi Ho, I get it, all right? I get it, okay? I know what it's like for a guy to, lose his hair and get weird about it. And let's be real, there's all of these products for men out there, or just in general for anybody who's losing hair or balding, right? There's all these products, but then they don't ever really work. And you want to know how I know they don't work? Because think of some of the richest people on this planet. Think of some of the richest people on this planet, and a lot of them are bald. So the fact that they're rich as hell and they still haven't found some sort of product to get their hair back basically tells me that all these other products on the market are a scam. So yeah, think about it. Freaking, what's his name? Oh my gosh, the Prince Charles, the one that's married to Kate Middleton. He's balding, and the man is royalty. The man is royalty. Or what about Jeff Bezos? He's bald too, and he's rich as hell. So yeah, you're right. Hair is very sacred. Heidi Ho, thank you so much for the super chat. So yeah, I get it, guys. I get it. It is very sacred. Let's see what else we got here. MD says LeBron got his hair back. I watched the Kevin Hart special, and he was making fun of LeBron for that. And he was like, what you got on your hair? And does it move? If you haven't seen the Kevin Hart special, I think it's on the Peacock. I might be wrong. I think it might be on the Peacock, but go check it out. It's really damn hilarious, actually. Hunter Tillman sends in a very generous super chat. Hunter says, "You're the best, Denise. I really want you to know that I've never really connected with a pro wrestling media personality, and it feels pretty freaking cool. I appreciate all of your hard work and I wish all the best for you." Hunter Tillman, thank you so much. You have been way too kind to me. I seriously thank you for that. And I'm glad that you've connected with me and with this podcast, because that's kind of the point, right? All of your favorite podcasters, you should feel like you kind of know them a little bit, right? Like they're your friend. They just happen to live someplace else. And so, yes, Hunter Tillman, I really hope that we get to meet someday in person. I think it would be incredible. And thank you. And I really would like to thank you in person someday for all of the support that you've given me. So thank you so much for all the love and support. Okay. By the way, Tiger Claw confirms that it is on the Peacock. DMP says the Peacock always gets me. Oh, it gets me too. Oh, the audio listeners missed out on that one. The audio listeners missed out on the wink. There was a wink at the end of that. All right, moving on. Moving on from this, let's go ahead and get into Kehlani Jordan. So last week, Kehlani Jordan was backstage with Dana Brooke. And Dana Brooke, we've been seeing this whole new side of her. And before we get to Dana, she basically told Kehlani, you need to show more of your edge. You need to get that killer instinct. And so Kehlani decided to go out and issue a challenge to Blair Davenport via social media. So she gets this match with Blair Davenport. Now, keep in mind that Kehlani Jordan, she's very, very new to NXT. I think this might be the first, maybe second match that I've actually seen of Kehlani. Nope. I think this was the first match that I've seen of Kehlani. So she has a gymnastics background. And for the most part, those in NXT that have a gymnastics background have been doing fairly well. In a media interview that Shawn Michaels did during WrestleMania week, he was asked about what athletes he feels just kind of connect more and are able to grow a lot faster and really pick up wrestling. And one of the people that he mentioned was the gymnast. He says the gymnasts are, really great and they tend to, pick it up a little bit faster, right? And so for the most part, they've been very successful or pretty damn successful with getting gymnasts and transitioning them into pro wrestling and whatnot. So Kehlani Jordan, given her gymnastics background, we got some hope for her for sure. So during this match, I was paying really close attention to Kehlani Jordan during this, because she has a very, very sweet presence. She's a very, very nice looking girl. She's very, she comes across very sweet and innocent on camera. And so that's why I like that Dana was basically telling her, you need to find some edge, because I buy it. I buy that Kehlani Jordan is just this very sweet personality, right? So during this match, though, what I was paying a close attention to was all of the things that she was doing in the actual matchup. So the big thing that I took away from this is that they had Kehlani go out there and do a lot. For the majority of this match, it was all Kehlani. She had some pretty interesting moments here. I thought that they had her do a lot. Not everything was crisp, but for the most part, though, given the fact that she's already attempting half the things that she's attempting, I felt like, this was a pretty decent start for Kehlani. And it kind of got me a little bit excited to see what Kehlani's growth might be like on NXT, because again, we've seen a lot of girls start in different spots on the show. Some are more advanced than others. Some start, some look really good, really fast. Some you can see the potential, and then some, are not great and you already know it, right? But with Kehlani, I feel like I definitely saw the potential. I think the only time that I kind of felt like something didn't necessarily look too great in the match, but that's fine because it's developmental, and literally, again, like I said, she's so new. It was just pretty much, there was a hurricanrana spot that didn't look phenomenal, but it was fine. She still attempted it. It looked good. With some with some tweaks, it'll look great. And there was another thing that I actually really did like. And there was this moment where I think Blair was going for like an arm drag on Kaylani, and Kaylani like literally had a really cool counter to that. And I thought it kind of looked really freaking cool. So there was quite a bit that I did enjoy that we saw from her. But in the end, of course, Blair Davenport, who's been on a rampage on NXT, she essentially hits her with a knee to the face and ends up winning the match. And as I was watching this, I started thinking, because Dana was on the outside, Dana Brooke, and the second the match ended and they showed Dana Brooke was on the outside, I'm like, oh, we definitely need to see some sort of feud between Dana and Blair Davenport. And then, of course, lo and behold, that's quickly the direction that they were headed, because that's what we ended up starting to see. So Dana Brooke kind of goes kind of nuts. She's a little bit batshit crazy right now. And she gets this strap and she goes after like a mad woman after Blair. And Kaylani tries to kind of get her to calm down, and she turns around and she almost gets Kaylani with the strap itself, but then she doesn't. She realizes that it's Kaylani and no one else. And so backstage, we then get this moment between Dana and Kaylani where Dana is basically snapping. She's talking about how she doesn't want all these things to happen to Kaylani. She doesn't want all these people talking shit about her and all of these things happening to her. And she's almost coming across a little bit as like a mad woman, but also maybe like a little bit paranoid, maybe a little bit, I don't want to say bitter, because she's not acting bitter. She's just acting very aware. And I like this. This is the first time we've seen this like darker side of Dana Brooke. Like, I've never seen this side of Dana Brooke. I didn't even know she had this in her. And I feel like if they keep this going, if they keep kind of Dana Brooke as this loose cannon, as this very like almost mama bear, but like scary mama bear type, I feel like they can do a whole lot with Dana here, because she is showing she's showing a lot with this character, and I'm digging it. I almost wish that she would have started doing this on NXT the second that she came in, but I'm digging this version of Dana Brooke, and I'm excited to see what they can do here, especially with her and Blair Davenport. I think this would be a pretty good feud overall. So I was definitely a fan of this. Let's see what else we got here. Actually, we got a super chat here from John Deller. Thank you so much to John, who says, felt like Kiana James is trying to take over for Cora Jade. Oh, like being like the new resident mean girl. I definitely can see that, because right now Cora Jade, who the hell knows what's going on, there's spots to be filled for the mean girl. But then you got Tiffany Stratton, who's another mean girl. JC Jane, another mean girl. I feel like they've got quite a bit. Blair Davenport, another one. They got way more mean girls than we probably need. So, John, thank you so much for sending in that super chat. We got another one here from Stephen Marchuli, who says, to change up the look and feel of NXT, how would the Santa Monica Pier work for an NXT show? I don't know that they can do a wrestling show like on the actual Santa Monica Pier. Maybe on the sand, but definitely not on the pier, because the pier is so jam-packed. I mean, you got arcades and cotton candy shops and places to get a snow cone, and there's a roller coaster. So there's a lot, but I just don't see them probably doing something like that. Like, there's so many other places that they could, change things up and do things differently and put shows in all of these different venues from wherever they want to do it. But anybody who hasn't gone to Santa Monica Pier, though, should take the time to go to the Santa Monica Pier. It's awesome. If you ever get your chance to come out here, or hell, if you already live out here in California, and if you haven't already, do the bike rides from like Santa Monica to Venice or Venice to Santa Monica, and you will have the time of your life. It is so freaking fun. I did that recently, and I want to do it again because it was really, really cool. Okay, let me go ahead and catch up with everybody here. MD says NXT is Mean Girls Pile Driver. Finisher says dude's a Mean Girl faction. I mean, at this point, we've got so much. We've got so many of these Mean Girls on the actual brand that they could definitely do that. Pile Driver also brings up Kiana. All right, Tiff, Kiana, who else? No, that's it. I'm pretty much named everybody else. Okay, so let's go ahead and press on from here, and let's get into Von Wagner, Robert Stone, and Bron Breakker. Now, guys, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm a little bit on the fence, all right? So I'm probably going to need the chat. You guys are probably going to have a lot of influence on me for this one here. So Von Wagner has kind of started to get a little bit over on NXT. Maybe over is a really strong word, but we're starting to see people take some interest. And the thing that they're taking interest in is Von Wagner putting people through the commentary table. That is the thing that is working for Von Wagner. Now, keep in mind, if you have not been watching NXT for, the new version of NXT, ever since Von Wagner came, he has sort of been very vanilla on the show in terms of, and he's a big guy, and they've put him in prominent spots, but it just hasn't clicked yet. And it wasn't until recently, only a couple months ago, that they played this video package where they were talking about some of the things that he went through as a child. And oh man, after I saw that, I was like, I can't hate Von Wagner. There's no freaking way. And by hate, I mean storyline, guys, storyline. All right, just like in the actual programming storyline. I ain't talking real life here, but like in the actual story portion of NXT, I'm like, man, I cannot not try and root for Von Wagner. Like it pulled at my heartstrings. I felt like a dick if I was like rooting against Von Wagner on the show. And I'm sure maybe a couple of you probably felt that way too. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. Then they did this thing where he was going to therapy. They didn't really stick with it that long, but he had like 1 week that was pretty funny when he was checking out the female therapist, and he finally showed a little bit of personality. I remember putting that over. But ever since then, it hasn't been until him actually putting people through tables that has started to get an actual reaction. So it's been very strange that it's been working for him. Now WWE is known sometimes for kind of shoving things down your throat in terms of wanting to really get things over. You guys know what I mean. You guys all heard the big dog like 5,000 times whenever there's a catchphrase. I mean, the Miz's tiny balls. Whenever there's an opportunity to take a catchphrase or a word or something, it's on a t-shirt, all of a sudden we're hearing it. It's the thing we hear over and over again. And here's the thing though. Sometimes they're great and they're awesome and they work and everybody has a good time doing them. And then sometimes you're like, ooh, this is trying way too hard. So with that being said, for me, I feel that the table and the you're gonna get tabled is a little bit on the trying hard side of things. It doesn't feel natural to me. And I'll point out the yeah with LA Knight. Fuck, everybody's doing that, guys. I find myself doing it at home. I've at this point gotten other people in my family to do it, and they don't even watch wrestling, okay? They don't even watch wrestling, but because of the it's fun to do, right? So there are some things that are just fun to do, fun to say, all right? So they're pushing the you're gonna get tabled and you're gonna be tabled and tabled. I know that it's gonna get annoying. I feel it already because it's only been a week. We just got the shirt and I'm already going, oh no, this is what we're going to be hearing for the next couple of weeks. So I hope that it gets funny. And in order to help it make it funny, whenever you guys get the chance, please take a second to Google. So hold on. So I'm laughing because I already know what I'm going to say. Von Wagner closed out. He should have challenged to Bron Breakker, right? They're going to have a match. But prior to his promo, he says, tonight, your ass is going to get tabled. All right? Keep in mind, that's what he said. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this means something else. So I go on urbandictionary.com. And lo and behold, not the first one, but the second explanation of what tabled means will change the entire perspective of this for you. It will change everything. I already posted it on Twitter. A couple of people already saw it and are laughing their asses off at it. But it will change your entire perspective of tonight your ass is gonna get tabled. I'm like, oh no. Always check Urban Dictionary first. All right. Always check Urban Dictionary first. Daniel Reynoso says, I learned something new today. Patrick Scrogan says, oh no, Denise went to Urban Dictionary. And Pile Driver finishes is banging on the table, I'm assuming. It's a little bit more graphic and detailed than that, but it's along those lines of what that second definition of tabled actually means. So yeah. Also, we got Heidi Ho here, who's been a member for 7 months, says, tried rooting for Vaughn. Didn't work out for me, dog. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I'm giving him a chance. I'm giving this whole thing a chance. But I when things feel forced, though, it doesn't always work, right? But let's break down what actually happened between Von Wagner and Bron Breakker. So we get the match. And in the beginning of this match, Vaughn immediately tries to get Bron Breakker through the commentary table, but it doesn't happen. So then we get Von Wagner. He gets Bron Breakker with a couple of headbutts. He hits him with a big boot. The crowd is chanting, we want tables. So the NXT audience is definitely feeling the table situation, guys. Like, they were all over this. And then Bron Breakker spears Von Wagner. One spear, bam, 1, 2, 3, match over. Okay. There's still a lot left to be desired with the Wagner matches. So after this, after the spear, after the match is over, Bron Breakker tries to go after Robert Stone. And of course, Von Wagner stops him, and he ends up getting his heat back during this post-match angle, because then he ends up getting Bron Breakker and he takes him to the outside and he power bombs him into the commentary table, and it gets a tremendous reaction. So this is clearly working for a lot of people. Turns out people like to be tabled. People like to see other people get tabled. We're seeing this right now. We are seeing it on NXT. And this is, guys, I'm sorry, but it's hard for me to be interested in this when I just saw the guy get taken out by one spear in a very generic match. And then all of a sudden I got to be like, oh my God, wow, he powerbombed this guy on the table. I've never seen a powerbomb on a table. We've all seen a powerbomb on a table, all right? It's like the rite of passage. Well, I can't talk anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not feeling it. I hope that Patrick Scrogan says, I looked it up. Yikes. Oh, man. All right. So what I'm getting at here is, look, I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm still not feeling it. All right. I can't force myself to laugh at something that I don't think is funny. So I'm trying to make it funny. Anyway, so we'll move on from here. We got a super chat, actually, from very kind, always supportive Mike Parker. Mike Parker says, I at least like old school mentality behind this. Braun wins, but Von Wagner stays strong by putting Bron Breakker through the table. Side note, glad to be back in between events and vacations. I get what you're saying about this, but it's like, here's the thing. If the match was at least somewhat impressive, and then he got taken out by the spear and lost the match, I would say, you know what, though? I got a lot out of that. Cool. I like the post-match angle. Nice. But this was a very generic match. Like, you didn't get really anything out of this. And when the spear happened, I'm like, he's going to lose. 1, 2, 3. He lost. Cool. So for me, as a person who isn't a fan yet, if you're trying to sell me on being a fan, that match did not do it. It did not do it. So that's the only reason why I'm not in total agreement here, but I see what you're getting at, though, Mike. But you know what? I will say this. This is the bright side. The bright side here is they at least found something. They found something for Von Wagner that is working. So they might as well run with it. So we're going to be hearing table a lot, guys. Get used to it. You know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm going to do. For the next week's show, I'm going to get a little table emoji. And I'm going to put it on this podcast. And for Von Wagner segments, we will have a little table to represent Von Wagner. Somebody remind me of that. Mike Parker, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate you, all of you. Zeno Hour says, Denise, stop shaming Von's kinks. My God. Christopher Smith says, Denise is unimpressed. Christopher Smith, you are right. I'm sorry, cannot lie to the people. And I feel so bad because there's a lot that I like on NXT, but because I'm going in chronological format, guys, you guys are going to think I'm a negative Nancy, but Tyler Bate versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. I went through a roller coaster with this one. I was like, I hate it. I love it. I hate it again. It's literally what happened to me today. So I'm watching this match and I'm trying to get interested because I really like Tyler Bate. I'm a big Tyler Bate fan. I like what he does on the show. I'm a fan. All right. So we're getting this match. And the Heritage Cup rules are a little differently. The matches are, a little bit different. So it takes a second to really get used to, especially when you're not really seeing it that often. So it really does take a second. But we see Tyler Bate win the first fall of this match with a Tiger Driver in 97. The second fall is won by Noam Dar via submission. And then the third fall, we end up seeing Tyler Bate get the victory. And so we see this new Heritage Cup winner, and I'm going, yeah, woo, I'm so excited. Yay, we're going to shake things up. Tyler Bate is the new Heritage Cup winner. Yay. I'm celebrating. I'm over the moon. And then later on in the show, they completely undo all of this, all of it. I was watching, and I'm going to apologize in advance, guys, because I can't even give you a proper explanation as to what happened. The point is that backstage, the metaphor, what are they called? The metaphor, the metaverse? Oh my gosh, the metaphor? Yes, the metaphor. The metaphor try and get the cup back from Tyler Bate. And then out of nowhere, Nathan Frazier pops up, and I'm sorry, but am I the only person that forgot that Nathan Frazier had this cup? I'm sorry, but I did not remember that at all. And I cover the show on a weekly basis, and I did not remember that at all. But he comes out and he popped me because he was like, whoa, it's like the Spider-Man meme. And I'm like, yes, you read my mind. You read my mind. So Nathan Frazier popped me with that one. And then they do this whole explanation that I can't even give you the explanation, guys. I'm sorry. It was really all over the place, okay? The point is that Nathan Frazier has his Heritage Cup. And so therefore, now that cup that Tyler Bate won no longer belongs to him. So then he gives it back to Noam Dar. And so now at some point, it's going to have to be settled who is the real Heritage Cup champion holder. Is it Noam Dar, or is it Nathan Frazier? And so then basically whenever that's decided, chances are Tyler Bate will then get his opportunity because Tyler Bate tells Nathan Frazier after this, you owe me one. And Nathan Frazier is like, yeah, I know. I realize that. So I'm predicting that Nathan Frazier will become the real champion. And then maybe we'll get Nathan Frazier and Tyler Bate. I don't know. I feel like that's the direction we're going in. This was all very muddied up. You had to be really paying attention to everything that's been going on. And that's my job. And I can't even explain it to you guys. So, man, that was rough. That was very, very rough. Mike Parker says, I call them the metaphors. Oh my God. You know what's weird? I was about to bring this up. So Mike here says, am I the only one that likes Noam Dar in the metaphor? You're not the only one. I'm seeing a lot of people that like the metaphor, that they're fans. I saw it on Twitter. I've seen it here on the chat since a couple of weeks ago. I'm not a fan of the metaphor, but you're not alone though, Mike. There are other people that are fans. I'm not on your boat, Mike. I'm not on your boat, but there are other people on your boat. So at least you're not alone. I'm sorry, guys. Y'all know how I feel about this. I just haven't gotten on board just yet. Okay. We got to a couple of other people that want to share their thoughts, though. This is from Christopher. He actually said that Tyler Bate versus Noam Dar for him was a good match. All right, let's see what we got here. Christopher Smith says, so Oral loses to Frazier when Frazier won the cup. Then Noam claims he's champion even though he isn't. So Tyler wins the cup. And now Noam has a fake cup, but there's a match. WTF. Yes, Christopher Smith, you got it. All that you just said. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for spelling it out and explaining it to us like we're 5, because honestly, that's what we needed. They needed to explain this to us, or at least to me, like we're 5. Mike says they are my new Chase U. Yes. Yes. Like I much rather watch Chase U than the Metaphor. I much rather watch Chase U led by Von Wagner than the Metaphor. Honestly, that's where I'm at right now. Tim Weinerger Jr. sends in a super chat saying Metaphor still better than the Judgment Day, in my opinion. Tim, why do you do this to me, Tim? Well, you know what, Tim? At least you're sticking with your guns, all right? And there were a couple of people that agree with you last week, so I'm not going to completely disrule your opinion, but I cannot agree with this one, Tim. I'm still not on board with Metaphor being better than the Judgment Day. Like, not even close. We're so far away on this one. But I still appreciate you sending in the super chat, though. I appreciate you. And yes, I'm officially now, I guess this makes me a Chase U fan. Oh, man. Zeno Hour says Chase U versus Metaphor when? Oh, come on, guys. They're going to do that to me, and I'm going to have to sit here and talk about it. All right, I'm moving on from this. Let's get into what's going on with Carmelo Hayes and all the people that are coming up after his championship. So, Dijak confronts Carmelo Hayes backstage and says that he wants a chance at the title. Dijak has been getting a couple of wins in the last couple of weeks. He had a match against Malik Blade, defeated him. He defeated Scripps, and then he defeated Eddie Thorpe. So he's on a 3-match, I think, winning streak or something. And he's, out there making a case for himself, but Wesley gets in his way. And Wesley is also kind of, after what happened last week, he's still a little bit pissed off at Carmelo Hayes. And so they're kind of going at it. And so Dijak gets irritated that Wesley cut him off. So then Dijak attacks Wesley. And so we are going to be getting Dijak versus Wesley. Or did they announce it? Yeah, we're going to be getting Dijak versus Wesley next week to determine who the number one contender for the NXT North American Championship for the NXT Championship is going to be. So whoever wins next week between Wesley and Dijak will be the number one contender to face Carmelo Hayes at Heatwave. So whoever wins that faces Carmelo at Heatwave. So that's where we're at. I think it's most likely going to be Wesley. I don't think it'll be Dijak, only because they already started the Wesley Carmelo Hayes situation as of last week. And I feel like that one is definitely, I think we should stick with that. So I feel like that's what they're going to end up doing there. All right. And there's nothing else much to say about that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to this next program. And the next program we're going to talk about is Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams. So this was fun, guys. I was digging this. Now, I'm going to be real. After the Ilya Dragunov Carmelo Hayes match, that was bloody phenomenal. A lot of you guys were here for that NXT Great American Bash watch along. That was literally one of the best matches I've seen in a hot minute. It was really, really great freaking stuff. Top tier content. So after that, I was kind of like, oh, we're going to get Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams. I'm not really too crazy about that. Mainly because, we're barely going to start seeing Trick Williams on his own, right? However, today during this back and forth that they shared in the ring, I'm feeling it. I'm excited. You know what? They sold me on this match. And I will tell you why they sold me on this match. Because we know that Ilya Dragunov is literally the very best on NXT, right? And we also know that Trick Williams recently broke up with Carmelo Hayes. And he wants to be his own man. He's basically said this. And so now he ends up having this back and forth with Ilya. And during this, there's a whole lot that was said. So I'm just going to run down some of it. So Trick Williams tells Ilya that he wants to show him what this new muscle is all about. He says he tells Ilya that he respects him because he's a bad boy. He calls him a bad boy. He's like, I know you're a bad boy, and I've got a proposal for you. And Ilya looks at him and he says, you know what? I'm only here for retribution because according to Ilya, Trick Williams is the reason why he does not have the NXT championship around his waist. So then Trick basically tells him that he wants to have a match against him because he wants to show people what he's capable of. He wants to show people that he's not a sidekick. He wants to prove to people that he is the best. And so after this, we get Ilya basically telling him, I want you to really think about this because I'm going to break you. And Trick tells him, well, bring your A game because I'm going to bring my A game. I know who you are. I know you've defeated all of these people. He names Gunther. He names a couple of others. And then he says, but you couldn't beat him, referring to his buddy, Carmelo Hayes. So Ilya says he admires his courage, and this match will happen at Heatwave. We are going to be seeing Ilya Dragunov, Trick Williams. I don't think WWE officially announced it today, but did they officially announce it? But it's pretty much, we can pretty much assume that this match is already happening. They haven't given us like the official, poster or anything, but that's definitely where they're headed. Ilya Dragunov, Trick Williams. And I will tell you that I feel like this is going to be a pretty big test for Trick Williams, because if he can't have like a phenomenal match with Ilya Dragunov, or at least a pretty good match for like his level and for, NXT and Heatwave standards and all of that, then it won't be great, right, for him. But I do think that they will have a pretty decent match. So I'm looking forward to it. They really sold me tonight with the promos and everything that they did. And again, I was kind of feeling like it was a little bit of a step down for Ilya coming off of that program with Carmelo Hayes and that incredible match. I did feel like it was a step down. But you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. I'm looking forward to seeing what Trick Williams brings to the table with Ilya Dragunov. But I'm going to say this every week that I'm going to get so irritating, but Ilya Dragunov needs to be on the main roster. Like, it's very kind of irritating that he's not, because he's freaking killing it, man. He's freaking killing it. But let's go ahead and see what else we got here. Yeah, John Deller confirms it has not been announced yet. Yeah, but they're heading that direction. They're going to make it official soon at some point. All right. And Zeno Hour says Trick is going to get murdered next week. I don't want to see Trick defeat Ilya Dragunov. I don't think I'd be able to buy it. John says, but Trick definitely has got potential, eager to see his next 6 months. I agree, John. I definitely agree with that as well. Very much agree. And let's see what else we got here. DJC says, yes, it's official. Trick and Mad Dragon at Heatwave. They announced it before the main event with Dom and Dragon Lee. Thank you, DJC Smooth. All right, so and at some point we'll get some sort of graphic and we'll roll with it. But anyways, it's pretty much official. I hate that, by the way. Sometimes I'm like, we know the match is happening, but then they're like, let's see if it officially gets made. Oh, now we gotta wait. BTW, guys, we got a brand new member of the DWO. Watch out. We got Will Chisholm. Will Chisholm, welcome to the DWO. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. You are now going to be able to view exclusive content that is up here on the channel. Will Chisholm, I appreciate you very much. And again, welcome to the DWO. We got a lot of new members this past weekend, so I'm pretty excited about it. Mike Parker says, Trick must be the baddest man in NXT by not getting attacked in the parking lot and being able to just get away from 3 guys. Bro, he didn't get attacked nor kidnapped. Are you kidding me? Give the man a medal. Give the man a medal. Mike Parker, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. All right, so yes, I agree with Dante NYC, by the way. He says that Trick Williams needs to look good in defeat. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into, we're going to talk more about Rey Mysterio once we get to the main event, but let's talk about the first portion of what we saw with Rey Mysterio here tonight. So the first portion, my God, I was such a fan of this, guys. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, but this warmed my heart, made me laugh. I was such a freaking fan. Rey Mysterio out there giving the rub to some of the women on NXT. And those 2 women were Roxanne Perez and Thea Hale. We need to talk about this. All right. So Rey Mysterio's backstage and he has this conversation with Roxanne. Now, keep in mind that Roxanne Perez got a victory over Blair at the NXT Great American Bash in the Weapons Wild match. So we all got to see this new side of Roxanne Perez. And so Rey Mysterio basically tells her that, he saw what she did at NXT Great American Bash, and he called it a statement victory. He said that he got to see a whole other side of her. And then he tells her, you know what's next, huh? And she's like, yes. So, I'm assuming he was talking about like main roster or her once again becoming NXT Women's Champion. I'm assuming that's what he meant by what's next. I don't know. Maybe we'll read in between the lines on that one. We'll wait and see what really is next. But I was a big fan of this. Then he tells her, oh, excuse me. And she's like, yeah. So he continues on. And Thea Hale is there. And Thea is like freaking out, guys. She's freaking out. She's got like eyes bulging out of her. She's fangirling. She's a mess, man. She's like, oh my God, it's Rey Mysterio. Oh my gosh. She's like shaking his hand. She's like, hi, hi, hi. She's freaking out. And then Rey Mysterio gives Thea Hale some words of encouragement. And I'm going to be honest, guys. And in the chat, let me know. Give me some sort of emoji, any freaking emoji. Raise your hand. I don't know. But let me know if what Rey Mysterio told Thea Hale somehow resonated with you, the viewer. Because after what Rey Mysterio told Thea Hale, man, I felt like Rey was speaking to me. I'm like, man, I'm going to get up. I'm going to freaking soar. I feel so motivated after what Rey Mysterio said. That is how motivational he was to Thea Hale. That shit, I feel like as the viewers, you guys felt motivated listening to Rey Mysterio. So I'm going to tell you what Rey Mysterio said verbatim. So he said, Thea, I know what it's like to be the ultimate underdog, and I know you've been struggling recently, but I truly can see the heart displayed in the ring every time you step in there. I truly believe you're gonna be a champion one day. Just be patient with yourself and believe in yourself as well. Mic drop, guys. Mic drop. Just be patient with yourself and believe in yourself as well. Man, Rey Mysterio out here connecting with all of us. Everybody here, a lot of people are saying that they kind of, felt it, guys. They felt it. I'm telling you, people felt it. We got a couple of people that definitely felt some motivated, except for Zeno Hour. Says he felt nothing. Come on, Zeno Hour. I repeated the words for you. Maybe you'll feel something now. It was a good talk from Rey, like M. Dured says as well. So Rey Mysterio goes off, right? And then we were talking about last week how Thea Hale seems to be she's changing, guys. We were talking about how she's maybe going down a different path. Maybe she's going to be, a different version of Thea Hale that we know and love, right? She's been kidnapped. She's been betrayed by her friends, you name it. So she might be changing. And it still seems to be, and keep in mind, Baron Corbin yelled at her last week and told her all these terrible things to her face. So keep all of that in mind so that when Thea Hale finally cracks, we'll know why this happened. So there's actually before Rey Mysterio leaves, she does ask him if he still loves Dominik Mysterio. And he says, yes, because he's my son. I just don't like the people that he's hanging with. Okay. Then Rey Mysterio leaves. Andre Chase and Duke Hudson come up to her and they're like, all like excited. They're like, oh my God, that was Rey Mysterio. You're talking to him, this and that. And the look on Thea Hale's face, guys, she is so fed up. Girl is rolling her eyes. She's so mad. And she snaps at him and she's like, well, you know what? He wouldn't throw the towel out. And so she's clearly still not over the fact that Andre Chase threw the towel in for her and ruined her opportunity. Andre Chase and Duke Hudson have go away heat for Thea Hale. Thea Hale, they have go away heat with Thea Hale based on this reaction. So I'm excited to continue seeing what changes we might be seeing in Thea Hale. But this was also really cool because we got to see Rey Mysterio give them both the rub, which was pretty freaking awesome to see. So I feel like that was NXT telling us which of their superstars they're really invested in. And we'll talk about another name that Rey Mysterio got the rub from Rey Mysterio at the end of the night once we get to that. So anyways, let's go ahead and press on from here. And let's go ahead and get into really quickly. We got a match between Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey versus Josh Brooks and Brooks Jensen. During this, Damian Kemp gets involved during this match. He suplexes Briggs, so this allows Dempsey to get the win. I got nothing else to say about this one. I'm moving on. Kiana James versus Ivy Nile. So this one here, basically what we got with this one was that, keep in mind that the Schism, they're still looking for the Creed brothers, and Ivy Nile, as a friend of the Creed brothers, they're all part of a stable. Basically, they're out there watching her like a hawk. And throughout this match, Kiana pretty much gets the best of Ivy Nile throughout this pretty much the entire thing. And she ends up winning with the help of the Schism that are out there, because at one point, one of them like kind of gets in the way and like hits the leg of Ivy Nile. And so this allows Kiana James to get the win. So this was kind of creepy, actually. Seeing the Schism out there, all those guys with the yellow mask, and they're just watching. I kind of thought it was a little creepy. And then afterwards, they all get into the ring and they start like threatening Ivy Nile because they're like, where are the Creed brothers? The Creed brothers are apparently on vacation, by the way. And so then Tony D and Stax Lorenzo run in and they run them off because they come in with weapons and throw them all off. And next week, we are going to be seeing Tony D and Stax defend their new tag team titles for the very first time against the Dyad of the Schism. So we are going to be seeing that. I don't know when I'm assuming they're probably maybe going to bring back the Creed brothers by Heat Wave. I feel like they'll probably do it then, since it'll be, a noteworthy show. So I'm expecting to see the Creed brothers by then. But it was kind of messed up that their girl, Ivy Nile, was pretty much out there with like 40 other people pretty much staring her down and threatening her, and her homeboys weren't there to help her out. So if I'm Ivy Nile, I'm a little bit pissed off, right? I know that the Creed brothers, lost their match, and, they were kicked out of NXT and whatever the hell happened, and now they're on vacation. But still, if I'm Ivy Nile, I'm a little bit salty about that. But hey, we'll press on from here. All right. Let's go ahead and get into, actually, I do want to read this comment here from Jeremy Harris, who says, Thea Hale is the future NXT Women's Champion. I want to see it. I want to see it someday, guys. I want to see it someday. All right, let's go ahead and get into Angel Garza and Humberto. But before we do that, we got a super chat here from the brand new DWO member, Will Chisholm, who says, with Rey talking to Roxanne, it feels like they're slowly building her back to the title picture. It's great that they let Rey put over the women's division. Great move with that. Completely agree, because usually when you do see like somebody get the rub from somebody else, it's usually the guys giving the rubs to the guys. Oh, that sounds really bad. The guy giving the rub to another guy, right? Like usually that's what we see. We don't always see it the opposite way, where it's like a legend comes in and gives the rub to one of the female talents. Nevertheless, two, and then one more later on in the night. We don't normally get to see stuff like that. So I feel like this was really freaking awesome. But I also kind of do think that this was part of getting Roxanne back up to the title picture, like Will just mentioned right now, with her getting that big win over Blair at the Weapons Wild match, and then this. And this is where she should be, guys. Like, she shouldn't be anywhere else but near that main title picture. Like, Roxanne Perez, anytime, like, her whole period in NXT, she should be in a big story. She should always have something going on. She should never just be, floating around on the roster, because that is not Roxanne Perez. They have so much with Roxanne. And clearly today, they basically told us, we know. I mean, they kind of already told us that before, but they're just reminding us now at this point. Will Chisholm, thank you so much for becoming a member of the DWO, and for also sending in a super chat, sending you over some good karma your way. Thank you so much to Will. All right, guys. And we got Tiger Claw, who's also a member of the DWO, says, I like Ivy. I wish they'd do more with her. Honestly, they've been keeping her. She's been on television every week. She's been having matches. She's, part of this with what they're doing with the Schism. I feel like they're doing all right by her. Okay, let's go ahead and get into Angel Garza and Humberto. So they teased a couple weeks ago a possible breakup between Garza and Humberto. And I was like, oh God, because you know what? They've really just across the board, on the main roster, they didn't do squat shit with Angel Garza and Humberto. They didn't do anything. And I've already talked about this before, so I'm not going to run this down again. You guys know how I feel. I wish that they did do something with them. And then they go to NXT. And I'm like, yes, they're in NXT. Everything's going so good for everybody who comes to the main roster to NXT. Something's going to be done. It's going to be great. And then nothing happened. Looked a fool. All of a sudden, egg on my face. And then they're teasing this breakup, right? So then today, we get a video package. And in this video package, they're shown texting with each other. They're both chilling at home and they're both texting with one another. And it's funny too, because the text messages, I'm like, honestly, I thought they were kind of funny only because they were so, when you're fighting with someone or when you're not on good terms with somebody, ain't nobody texting like that. Everybody's angry via text. They sounded so nice and so polite with one another. I didn't think the text felt realistic. I'm like, if you're mad with somebody, I'm not texting like that. So I did think that was pretty funny though, whatever. So the point is that they're not on the same page, okay? But then they start talking about their grandfather and they start talking about how instead of, honoring him and honoring the legacy, instead they are embarrassing him. And pretty much at the end of this, you see both guys kind of with a picture of their grandfather, and they are pretty much left, I guess, in thought. Like they're both thinking about what they shared between those text messages, whether or not they're going to let bygones be bygones. And from the looks of it, they are going to let bygones be bygones. I do not think we're going to be seeing a breakup anymore of Garza and Humberto. I think they might have backtracked on that, given what we saw here in this video vignette. If all of a sudden they still break up, then this vignette don't make no sense to me, because this vignette basically told me that they're staying together, that they're going to, that maybe they just needed a little bit of a wake-up call, and they're going to, move forward together, because I think they're definitely needed in the tag team division. I think that they both complement each other very nice, and they can do something, but give them some matches, give them a story, get them going. Like, we at least need to see them wrestle on the show. Like, that's what they really need to do. So anyways, that's what I hope they do. And I think they're finally, I think this was just the beginning. I think they're finally getting the ball rolling with them. So I'm hopeful again that they make some good calls with Angel Garza and Humberto. And all righty, let's go ahead and press on from here and get into a quick promo that we got from Tiffany Stratton. So last week they had teased a TikTok video from Tiffany Stratton where she said that she was going to come out, that she was going to do a celebration, or that she was going to tell us who her next opponent was going to be. Well, Tiffany Stratton completely forgot all of that, because she ends up doing this interview with Mackenzie Mitchell, and Mackenzie asks her, who is your next opponent? And Tiffany is like, well, I went shopping, and oh my God, I bought something pink, and oh my God, Barbie, but then I found something that was blue, and the blue looked really great too. So I was really, really unsure about what I was going to do. And then there was this white skirt, and the white skirt looked really great too. And so then Mackenzie's like, that's not what I asked you. I asked you who your next opponent is going to be. And so Tiffany's like, oh, nobody. And then she leaves. I love this. It's Tiffany Stratton, right? That's who she is. So I thought this was really hilarious. Who her next opponent's going to be, I don't know. I don't feel like they've really have they given us, am I missing something? Have they given us a big clue as to who the next opponent is going to be? I'm sure they have, but I feel like you can make a case for a couple of people. I feel like there's a couple of people where I'm like, okay, if they do a program with this person and Tiffany Stratton, I can see it happening. Or maybe this person. It could be Roxanne. I don't know if they're going to circle back to that again. I have no idea. But this was really great, though. I had a good time with that. Tiger Claw Gaming says Tiffany is the best. She has her character down. She really does, though. And I'm so happy she did, because from the very beginning, when we first started seeing Tiffany Stratton, that was the first thing I said. She can draw inspiration from so many freaking people for this character. It is the easiest, in my opinion, the easiest character to do is just be, a fancy bougie biatch. It's great. I wish I was Tiffany Stratton. Tiger Claw Gaming, thank you so much for being a member now for 3 months. M. Dured says Tiffany is Denise's friend in her head. Guys, how can I say this? I like the mean girls. I like the valley girls. I like the bougie. I love your Regina Georges of the world. Okay, your Gretchen Wieners. I love them all of them, all the mean girls. Love them. The meaner, the better. Except to me, please don't be mean. I used to have a lot of mean girls in school, though. I was afraid of all of them. Anyways, moving on from here. Main event time. Finally, we get to talk about this. So we had Rey Mysterio, as we mentioned earlier, here on NXT. He had been promoted for an entire week that he would be on the show, accompanying Dragon Lee as he took on Dominik Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship. And of course, Rhea Ripley was in the corner of Dominik Mysterio. So really cool. We got to see Rey Mysterio introduce Dragon Lee as he walked out there. And then for the most part, this was a very fun match. We got to see a good start with Dragon Lee pretty much getting the upper hand over Dominik Mysterio. So that was pretty cool. At one point, we do see that there's a minor confrontation between Dominik and Rey and Rhea on the outside. And so, of course, with this distraction, this basically allows Dragon Lee to go in there and just like bam, kick Dominik Mysterio on the side of the head. I think we go to commercial break after this. When we come back, we see a little bit more. We see Dragon Lee do a dive to Dominik onto a table. We get to see that. He kicks him in the face. And then finally, we get to see Dom try and go for a 619, and then he goes for a frog splash, but instead Dragon Lee anticipates it, and so he gets him and he power bombs him. And when he power bombs him, he goes for the pin, and you think that it's going to be a 3, but it's a 2 count, so it was a pretty good moment. And then afterwards, of course, we get the shenanigans once again with Rhea Ripley. She comes in, she throws in the title. The referee clearly sees it, so does Rey Mysterio. So then Rey Mysterio yanks the title from Dominik. But while all of this is going on, while the referee is paying attention to them, Rhea Ripley is working her magic. And with her title, she hits Dragon Lee. And so this allows Dominik Mysterio to get the win once again. Third time now? Fourth time? Nope, 4th time. When he won the title, when he defeated Butch, when he defeated Sammy, and now this match here. 4 times now he has had the help of mommy Rhea Ripley. And so once again, he is North American champion, retains the belt. But what we saw afterwards was pretty cool too, because I think everybody pretty much knew Dragon Lee wasn't going to be defeating Dominik. You knew Rhea was going to get in the way, and all of that was going to play out as it did. So Rey Mysterio afterwards, again, has another confrontation with Dominik, but then Rhea cuts right in front of Dom, and she gets in the face of Rey, and she is like poking him. She's poking him. She's being so rude, so nasty to Rey Mysterio. She's like poking him. And so finally, Lyra Valkyria ends up coming out from behind and attacking Rhea Ripley, right? Because like Rey Mysterio wasn't going to put his hands on Rhea. He's a gentleman. Even though Rhea was like poking at him, he wasn't going to put his hands on her. So Lyra comes, she attacks Rhea from behind. And so then they basically manage to get them all out. And so the last closing scene that you have is like Dominik and Rhea hugging each other as they walk out. And they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. And in the ring, you have Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and Lyra, and Rey Mysterio is raising both Dragon Lee and Lyra's hands up in the air. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, damn, Lyra is also getting the rub from Rey Mysterio. Thea Hale got it, Roxanne Perez got it, and now Lyra Valkyria got it. I thought that was really freaking awesome, because the last couple of weeks, what have we been talking about in regards to Lyra? That she is on fire right now. And they're continuing, from the looks of it, this feud, this story with her and Rhea Ripley, because this was something that kind of started off as there was a respect there between Rhea and Lyra. That's gone now. That's completely out the door. And everybody was, really putting over that match that Lyra had with Rhea. And so I'm liking the fact that they are continuing this with both of them. So I'm really excited. I hope we get to see both of them at Heat Wave. That may be what they're intending to do. Or hell, maybe even No Mercy. Yeah, they could do No Mercy. Who knows? I don't know if they'll do it at Heatwave or at No Mercy, but I'm expecting to see Lara and Rhea Ripley one-on-one again at some point. So that should be pretty fun. Pretty fun. All right. So, and let's go ahead and see what else we got, guys. Next week, Tony D and Stax versus the Diet for the titles, as I mentioned. Wesley versus Dijak for the NXT Championship, #1 contendership spot. And whoever wins that goes up against Carmelo Hayes at Heatwave. Dana Brooke versus Blair Davenport. And then Trick Williams versus Drew Gulak will be happening next week, everybody. All right, so that's where we're at with everything. MD predicts that Lyra will go after the world championship. I think when she's done with Rhea, that's a very cool possibility, but I feel like they can save it because actually, no, that is a really cool possibility. They could definitely, after she's done with Rhea, she can definitely go and have a program with Tiffany Stratton and maybe even defeat her. Who knows? We can see it happening. Alrighty, guys. So that was NXT here today. I want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out. We actually got a couple of super chats that I need to read, though. And this one is from Giuseppe. Thank you so much to Giuseppe, who says, great job on the new Spanish interviews. I hope you get to interview the legend Ali Park at the Queremos, Denise. Thank you so much, Giuseppe. I asked for Ali Park. I actually asked for a bunch of people. I just emailed the PR team and was like, can I interview this person? But they had a media day. And so they already have the talent that they set aside for media day. So I just hopped on, and it was so funny too, because their media day, like everybody was in person and I was in a laptop. So as everybody was passing by, I was just there like on a laptop, just waiting. So I kind of thought that was really funny, but I was very happy. Shout out to Oscar from the AAA PR team. He is awesome. Love Oscar here. He's a good one. And yeah, so anyways, I do have brand new interviews with Sam Adonis, with Flammer, and also with Lady Shani. The ones with Flammer and Lady Shani are in Spanish. The one with Sam Adonis is in English. For those of you who don't know, he's a brother of Corey Graves, and he really got over in Mexico. So we had a fun little conversation, a short one because it's media day. So these interviews have to go a lot faster, but we still got some pretty good conversation in there. So that was pretty enjoyable. All right. And I think I got everybody's super chat now. By the way, guys, if I ever miss someone's super chat, please just leave me a comment on the video, or if not, reach out to me on Twitter, because sometimes it does happen and I hate when that happens, but I make sure to not have that happen. All right. And last but not least, everybody, before I go, I do want to let everybody know that on Friday, if you recently left a review on my Apple Podcast page, because we got so many, I read a bunch of them on Friday. So if you want to make sure you hear yours get read, man, I can't talk today, guys. Fudge. If you want to make sure you get yours, you want to make sure you hear yours get read. That happened on Friday. However, we got some new ones. And so I'm going to read the new one that we just got, because, guys, I can't believe it. We're getting so many more reviews. We're up at 49 now. My goal is 100 reviews by the end of the year. So I just need 51 more reviews to literally hit this goal here. But we also got a new review from TXRWS, who had a really nice thing to say here. TXRWS says, bucking the IWC negativity. He says, I had been listening to the competition for a couple of years, and it has gotten progressively negative and unprofessional. Why are so many wrestling podcast hosts just plain annoying? And why do they always seem to be yelling? I really enjoyed Denise's take on things. She's positive without sucking up and keeps it real without tearing down. I also love the inclusion of Reg on Wednesdays. I couldn't find a single podcast I enjoyed for Dynamite, and these two are killing it. So happy to see her thriving, and I'll keep listening. Thank you so much to TXRWS for this very generous and honest review. I really appreciate this. Once again, guys, the links are in the description box below of this video. You can listen to me on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or pretty much anywhere that you guys check out podcasts. We have another super chat here from Stephen Martrulli, who says, can't wait for Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte. I feel like at some point in the near future, we might definitely be getting that. And I feel like because so many people have made those comparisons of Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte, God, I really hope we see that. I really hope we get lucky and that timing is on our side and that we do get to see that match someday, because that would be really freaking sweet. There's a lot of girls that I'm like, damn, I know they're just getting started, but I would love to see this person mix it in with this person on the main roster. And this is definitely a really good example of that. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. Alrighty, everyone. That is it for today's podcast. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow with Righteous Reg, and we will be talking about AEW Dynamite. And then I'll be back on Friday for Smackdown, Saturday for Collision. You guys know the drill. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everyone.